my name is JJ, and I'm here to be your guide as you enter the publishing industry or as you simply learn more about it. So today I wanted to talk about the publishing process for specifically a book, okay? It's a long one, and it takes a lot of people by surprise. Most people don't realize that it takes as long as it does, but there is a good reason that from the time of signing a contract with a literary agent to signing a contract for your book, to actually seeing that book in print and going into launch sales and marketing and all of that stuff, it can take years in the publishing world. So time moves differently in publishing, as we like to say. Everything moves a little bit slower. Nothing is ever linear, and we just kind of jump around, right? I'm thinking already about conferences and things to be doing next August, and it's only January. So let's talk about how this whole thing starts. We're going to do this from the writer's perspective, and then we're going to shift as is necessary into the other parts of publishing. All right, so first thing that happens, you write a book. Woo! You've written the entire first draft, you made it past the first 5 chapters where books usually die if the idea doesn't work, and you wrote the words, "the end." Great. Now what? Well, now you go back through and you edit, and you revise, and you rewrite, and you make it so much different than it was at the start, right? By the end of that revision process, you've probably changed every word in that book. So after you have finished edits, and some people edit for years, some people edit for months, some people edit for weeks. It just kind of depends on the writer and how perfect and polished they want their book to be before they pass it off to somebody else. The best thing you can do is get a second opinion. So whether that's turning it over to a friend who you trust to tell you the truth about things, to have them read your book, assuming you even have a friend who will read your book. Alternatively, you can look online to find a better reader. They usually can help catch some plot inconsistencies or questionable things that you're like, I don't know if this works or not. They'll be able to tell you if it worked or not, or if they didn't believe it, or if they were having a hard time suspending their disbelief for you. Regardless, they can give you really good feedback, which then you can take back into edits again, right? So this is round 2 of edits. By the time you finish round 2 of edits, you're probably ready to start looking at how to submit this to literary agents. So this is assuming you want to go the traditional writing path, a traditional publishing path. So you start writing a book proposal, and you start researching literary agents. And then after you find all of the submission guidelines on the literary agent's page, you start sending it out according to their guidelines because you're a good author who did your research and you know what they're looking for. After the literary agent that you have so painstakingly crafted your proposal for says, yeah, I want to represent you, and you sign a contract with the agent and the agency, and you know exactly what's going on, they'll probably walk you through the next part of the process, which looks a little bit like this. They will start sending out your book, they will keep you updated on any possible yeses or nos, and they will continue working to champion your book for publishers, or in front of editors at publishing houses. Once, eventually, and this could take years, months, weeks, years, there's no average here. It can take a while. So you gotta stick with it. Once an editor at a publishing house says, hey, I want this book, that editor will then take your book to Pub Board. And the Pub Board is a group of everybody at the publishing house from every organization that is in the publishing house. So that's designers, marketers, finance people, editors, everybody who's there who has a say in whether a book gets published. This editor, this acquisitions editor, starts pitching your book to the rest of the publishing house. They start running numbers. They start looking at the plausibility of, will it sell? Can we market it? How much money should we put toward it? So on and so forth. If they decide that your book is worth their money and their time, then they will come up with a contract and send it back with the acquisitions editor to your agent. Your agent will start negotiating terms on that contract to try to keep you safe in legal things. So you sign a contract with an editor at a publishing house. They then take the book, go through first rounds of edits. They will come back with either a letter or a bunch of notes or something for you to employ in your next round. So you're on your 3rd round of edits with this single book, as they go through and they're like, okay, here's a plot hole I noticed, here's all of the big picture stuff, like, is this character even necessary? That sort of stuff they're doing in this round. You go through, you make their edits that they've suggested, and you send it back to them. Then it goes to the copy editor, assuming that they agree on everything that you've done. Copy editor goes through. Meanwhile, while the copy editor is looking for all of the grammatical stuff that they can find and fix, the publishing house is also working on covers and marketing plans and all of that stuff that makes a book end up like a book, right? So after the copy editing is done, then it goes to the typesetting, and you'll start seeing proofs. They'll probably send a galley, which you can then look through for the final time and be like, wow, it's happening, my book baby is going to print. This is also when they start sending you pages for you to sign, so that when they put the book into the print shop, they have your signature on a bunch of pages and they can sell signed copies. It's kind of tricky how they do that. You don't have to sit down with every single copy of the book. You just sit down with a bunch of pages and go through and go through and go through and go through. And then they print those pages and bind those pages specifically into the books. That will be the signed copies sold at bookstores. So after everything is done, everything is edited, it's proofread, you get the final sign-off, it goes to the printer, and that is when you finally get your first proof copies in your hands to look at. If everything is still looking good, still looking great, then they'll finally go to the final print run, and then your book can finally be released, and that's when you start doing all of the marketing and such that you and the publishing house, the publicist, have made plans for in order to do this successfully. So as you can see, there's a lot that goes into getting your book published. It's not quite as simple as, hi, I wrote a book, will you publish it? Sure, straight to print. That is not at all how it works. That's how self-publishing can work. It's not how it should work. You should also get editors and designers and everything for that, but it's possible that you can do that self-publishing. However, you can tell through all of the hands of the book, through all of the hands at the publishing house that this book has passed through, you're going to get a higher quality product, usually, by the end of this process than you would were you to skip all of those steps and publish it yourself. So that's one of the benefits of traditional publishing. It's also why traditional publishing takes so long, because you have a lot of hands that has to pass through. They're all working on multiple books. They want the same thing you want. They want your book to be really good, and they want to get it published, and they want it to sell. The thing with publishing is patience. Patience, patience, patience. Our timelines work differently. Everything takes months to years to get to, and you have to think in advance for all sorts of things. If you're impatient in the process, it's just because things are happening behind the scenes that you didn't know about, okay? So it's okay to be a little bit angry or annoyed. Talk to your agent. They can help smooth things over. They can help reassure you that everything is going according to plan. You just have to be patient, okay? And the nice thing is, too, things are happening. Even when you don't know that they're happening, things will be happening. People will be looking at your manuscript. People will be working on helping you with a marketing plan. People will be working for your benefit. So I hope this helped make the publishing process seem like it makes a lot more sense. If it doesn't, if you're more confused, I'm sorry. I tried to make this as short and concise as I possibly could. There's just a lot going on in the process that you don't really know about, and there are pieces that I left out that you can add in as well. There's the whole platform building process that you should be doing while your book is no longer in your hands, because if you can get your book out to as many people as possible in that first month after publication, you'll be doing really well. So I hope this helps. If you're still confused, ask me your questions down in the comments below, and I will get to them and answer them as soon as I can. Until next time, I will see you then. If you like these videos and you want to learn more about the publishing industry and the publishing process, go explore the rest of my channel. I have an industry insights section where I give you little tips like this. That's where this video falls into. I also have pro tips where you can just learn how to be a professional, and parts of my own writing journey, and just fun things that are happening, writing tips, you name it. I've probably talked about it. So go explore, go see if you like what you see. If I can help you make sense of anything, great. If I can't, I'm sorry. I did my best. On that note, I love you. I'm glad you're here. I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.